Okay, once you're logged in, maybe I can start. Okay, this talk is all about fun with WebSockets. This approach to this talk is more creative than, well, technical, due to the fact that I am from a creative industry, and my standpoint would be always to do something creative for technologies like this. Oops. Okay. Because my slide is a bit washed up, I am JP Guzman from the Philippines. I've been in the industry for about 13 years. I started when I was 15 years old, product of child labor. I was I was a Flash animator then, and then started to progress towards the server side. I've worked with all sorts of whatever old school technology that you might think, like ASP. Is there any older VB script and all of that? I've been through those kind of stuff. Work with server side from Java to PHP, and then now Node. Most of my investment of time would involve PHP. Okay, and as what Rico said, sorry, I am a founder of Rain Creative Lab. Rain Creative Lab is we're a growing web design agency. We've been servicing local clients. We're so fortunate that we've worked with wonderful clients over the past years. And then, again, just to set the tone of this presentation, it's all about being creative. How I approach technology is not about just plain code. I need to communicate something through using whatever technology that we have. So let's go to the meat of the topic, which is, well, fun with WebSockets. But for a very simple definition, I won't be using, they say that WebSockets by definition is a bidirectional protocol using TCP, but it's a bit technical for me, and I don't want to use that kind of stuff. So let me say that, well, WebSockets makes you make crazy stuff in real time. I'll be simple with that, because I think what you can do with WebSockets is pretty much make something wonderful in real time. And to limit my scope, because there are wonderful things that you can do with WebSockets, and if you search for something about it, the number one thing that you would do is, how do you do a chat application through a WebSocket? But my point there is, will it always be like that? I want to go beyond what you can do with, well, socket programming and socket communication. It's not all about chat. Chat is only a gateway of stuff. Thank you for that comment. It's only a gateway for you to move forward. So I'm going to discuss about multi-screen. If you would be interested, I have here 3 screens that I have. I have my mobile phone, I have my tablet, and I have my computer. And you have, maybe you've connected to this presentation. Those are multi-screen application. Now, let's go back to the fundamentals of what the hell I'm going to be talking about. I would call this patterns of interaction. When they say patterns of interaction, it's really nothing new. It's about establishing how things are being done. For example, how a message is being communicated from its source to its intended audience. Basically, we use these patterns in order for us to create something unique about an application. It's hard to imagine real-time application without understanding these abstract patterns. Now, I'm sorry for being for the image being washed out, but you can check on the second screen application what the hell is that. This is a one-to-one interaction. This is very basic. I talk to you, you get back to me. Simple. One-to-one is the fundamental of any forms of communication. But what can you do with a one-to-one thing? What if you change the person to a device? Suddenly, things do change. Suddenly, possibilities opens up. So, my first encounter with socket programming comes with this game that we've joined for BlackBerry. It's Realm of Elysium. We are so lucky that we won the Manila Championship and we're flown to Bangkok for free. But we didn't win the competition because BlackBerry is not interested in games, so it's okay. We use Socket.io and Redis to build this game. Why Socket.io and why Redis? If you want to know, Realm of Elysium is a classic, it's a twist on a classic game, Battleship. Does anyone know game Battleship here? So everyone knows what the hell I'm talking about. It's a two-player game. You guess my location of everything that I have set up, and then once you identify all the location, you win. My first encounter with Socket.io is pretty much naive. I thought that you can just use the application and it will work magically. Then came the problems of what if you access the application outside of your comfort zone? And you're in a public Wi-Fi. There are certain ports that are not open and not being opened by certain security reasons. So this is the first time I've learned that you can't just use port 8080 to your Socket.io app. You need to use other ports, such as what I learned is using 443. It masks the whole protocol so that it would go into a somehow secured channel instead of you using a different port. Then came this application. Not really a wonderful app, but it what I call couch potato. There's one time that I was watching TV and I plugged my laptop into this big monitor, my screen, and I said it would be nice if I can use my mobile phone to maybe change the video that I'm watching because I'm watching YouTube. And then came this idea. Out of laziness, what if I have this remote control? And then I can select the video that I want, and then it will display on my TV screen. That would be wonderful. But obviously, it didn't push through, but the reincarnation will be in this next topic. Another one would be, the next pattern, another pattern is 1 to n. Everyone knows this as basic pub sub. You subscribe to a particular channel, and then every time something comes up, we publish, and then you receive. But the question here is, what if I change those subscribers to screens and devices? Now you can start building screen relays. When I say screen relays, this is a very cheap idea that you can combine multiple screens and then produce a single display out of it using this kind of system. And then another application that I've done is this platform Hydra, built just for this conference. I did take time to build this. So Hydra is the next best thing that happened aside from PowerPoint. So it's a second screen. Sorry, it's only a joke. It's a second screen experience on what you normally have when you're giving a presentation. Because I can't write everything here in my slide, so I decided why not just send you the other supplemental content on your device if you subscribe to this talk. Basic schema of how things is working. I have 3 devices, 3 things that's working here. My remote control, my master slide, the subscriber, and finally the server. It's using simple Sock.JS as a socket delivery platform. And then everyone here just subscribe to this channel, and then you get to have the content that I'm streaming. Okay, going back to another form of second screen would be this application. Has any one of you managed to work with a second screen application before? I mean, in your career, where you have your TV, then something streamed to your mobile phone while watching? Show of hands, only one. Okay, thank you. It's the first time in the Philippines that we've done this. TV5 is so ambitious that they can deliver a second screen experience to the masses. The first iteration of this idea was it should be audio recognition, so that when your device suddenly hears a particular sound signature, it would stream content from a particular server. But due to the technical problems in broadcast, where you need to compress sound and white noise seems to get cut during compression, we need to go and find other solution that would work. Then came the idea of this application. Sorry for the washout. But how it works is the TV is not really a direct agent of the second screen. It's an indirect trigger in which a broadcaster from the end of the process manually pushes content so that when you receive, when something happens in a scene, you get to receive a message in your device or in your, there. Thank you very much. So this is another form of second screen. It doesn't really have to be, I have multiple screen. It can be a device and totally indirect or direct screen that's controlling certain event to push data into your device. Now, I want to delve deeper on this because this is a part of the application that we did struggle into. How do you deploy Node application and scale it horizontally? At first, we've used Socket.io running Redis. I thought that I can just scale easily because the promise of Socket.io is this cool. They have this middleman approach with Redis that you can just plug it in. But the problem there is once we start using it and putting it under a load balancer, which is Nginx, it started to fail. Instead of switching between a proper protocol, which is a WebSocket, it goes to an XHR streaming, which is really nasty because you can't maintain state if you're in an XHR. So I cut it out and then revert all the entire server into sock.js. And mind you, it works flawlessly. We rely heavily on Redis PubSub. I did try to use RabbitMQ for our message broker, so that if in case we scale out horizontally and we need to cut Redis PubSub, we can just migrate into a different message broker type of system. This is for some people would say, why don't you use Express.js or existing framework for Node? The problem here is my company has been investing so much time with PHP. Sorry if you don't like PHP, I'm okay with that. What we've done is we just use Node as a relay server instead of using Node as a main application server. It gives us freedom to decouple services along the way. We need to integrate with several services here. We have the broadcaster that pushes the data. We have the grid that manages the schedule, a CMS, and an actual API that connects everything together. So that's how the application is structured. Next, moving forward, is an end-to-end pattern. End-to-end is an extension of your 1:n. I think everyone knows this, but what if everybody talks? This is the time where a subscriber becomes a publisher as well. So everyone gets to communicate. Now the question there again is, what if we change this subscribers and publisher into devices and let them talk to each other? Then came this idea. It's an interactive webcomics where you need to hook three or more devices in order for you to experience the whole story of what we're trying to say. Now, in a normal comics, you have a linear type approach that one character leads to another, dialogue leads to another. But the question there is, it's so flat and linear. What if you can read the comics, integrate another phone or device, and then get a different perspective from your phone? Or if you have a tablet, integrate it and get another point of view from that. And then a good thing there is, what if one character calls another character? Then each device can talk to each other. So imagine the possibility of bringing different way of telling story to this kind of platform. Well, but wait, I would say there's more. But the thing is, but wait, there's challenges ahead. How do you get to launch this type of application? Most of this program that I always see in the internet, like YouTube demoing this cool WebSocket technology, are all in the comfort of a local system. It's really hard to get this out of the door because of various issues that you would face when you start using this. I don't know if someone of you has been encountering problem while viewing this presentation. If yes, it's totally fine because it's still in dev version. So how do you get this out of the door? Is it just uploading it? We face a lot of issues here in building real-time application. One is scaling. With TV5, oh, sorry. Going back. With TV5, we don't really have scaling issues. We only have, 200 users to serve. And you can always build a mono app that would house everything together. I don't need to worry about Redis doing pub/sub. I can just have everything into one server. But unfortunately, due to our circumstances, we need to think of a way to scale it horizontally and making sure that they can add a new node anytime that they want. So suddenly they're asking me, can you scale into a 10,000 user? I say, I don't really know. We need to try it out. So, oops, I was disconnected here. But I can use my laptop to control that. A solution for scaling is always the couple service. You need to approach everything as in, there's a separation of concern. One is doing WebSocket, one is doing the application, the processing. You can never put them into one application because you want to reduce the failure. If one service is out, everything would die down. So one solution there is to decouple everything. This should be a door. The next item here is, how do you lure them in? With WebSockets and things like this, it's a magical experience that you see things working, and it's really wonderful. But the question there is, how far will your user invest time in getting and appeal to that magic? The problem there is, we as a developer will always say in our discussion, like, yeah, try it out, do this. But when user started using it, suddenly it doesn't work, or suddenly users don't understand. The question is, how do you lure them in? Our strategy there is, just reduce the user time setup experience, make them access a simple link, and then just go there. Have them feel the experience once they get into the application. There are lots of approaches here. You can use QR code. You can use shortened URL to simplify all of this experience. Next would be connectivity. With mobile being so what's the term there? Connectivity for mobile sometimes is erratic. You can never have a stable connection. So the question here is, how do you make sure that you have that experience of continuous user experience? Okay, if you are interested in what the music there, it's great piano concerto. So how do you make sure that the user gets to have the transparent experience? It's this. You need to provide a fail-safe protocol switch. You can never assume that everyone will have a WebSocket. I was testing the application here, and I'm using the default Samsung browser. Unfortunately, Samsung browser doesn't have WebSocket supported, so it switches to another protocol. In our TV5 application, if the user has been cut into the whole experience, we need to revert to a long polling solution, and sometimes a continuous heartbeat to the server, just to make sure that they get connectivity and data throughout the whole experience. Next would be, I don't know, anyone here still supported IE6? Okay, thank you. Before, it's just IE6. Now, we have this. It's the number of browsers that we need to support, multiplied by the OS that we have, and the number of devices that people is using. This is a formula for insanity. I don't know how developer get into this mess, but this is the number, this is the figure that we're looking at in doing such kind of application. And at one point in time, something will not work. It's just it. So, there you go. With everything that we have, all the issues that I've told you, my suggestion there is just keep on trucking. Because at one point in time, you will always find a solution for all of this problem, from the scaling part to connectivity to user experience. Everything has a solution. Some of them might be a hack. Some of them might be an elegant solution. But at some point in time, you will find something there. Okay? So my suggestion, if you have an idea now that involves WebSocket, things like that, just get on with it. Forget about the risk that you would take if you fail to make it work. Just try it out. Again, I've shown you the 3 patterns earlier. These are all simplified and abstract in nature. You can use this idea to come up with a totally new way of interacting. You don't say, if you want to build a complex WebSocket solution, you just won't say, I need to do this and do that. No, you need to look at these interaction patterns and draft how you would look into it. And then you'll never know, you'll discover something new. Then, finally, if there's one thing about this talk that I want you to remember, forget about all the examples, the problems that I've told you. If there's one thing, it would be this. WebSockets lets you make crazy stuff in real time. And that ends my talk. Thank you very much. Okay. I
think we can do a question.
And for those who will ask, as a token for your participation, I'll be giving out 4 gifts for you to ask me anything.
So if anyone has any questions, raise your hands.
2 Starbucks and 2 Starbucks cards that you can use now, loaded with 400 pesos, so drink and breakfast here. And then 2 tumblers for the best questions that people would ask. So
we got prizes for questions.
Keep on trucking.
Anyone?
Okay.
Sorry, someone raising their hands over here?
Yep, someone there at the back.
Okay, hello, sir.
Will Hydra be open source?
I'm sorry?
Will Hydra be open source?
Will Hydra be open sourced? Oh man, that's tough. Do you want it? Do you want a copy of it? I can post it in GitHub. The code might be so dirty. I just built it for about a week. Actually, I was coding it early this morning. I just have it uploaded. So, will Hydra be open source? I can have it open source so that you can maybe use it with your presentation and be as cool as that and have a second screen presentation. Sure, I'll just have it uploaded. Is that a valid question for a Starbucks card?
Listen, we actually don't give usually don't give any, prizes for questions, but it's totally the speaker's discretion.
Yeah.
If you want to give them too, it's also up to you.
You're from the
Anyone else with questions?
You're from the Philippines. Yeah. Okay. Any more? I have 3 items here. Oh my, no one's asking.
Okay, maybe you want to ask him about his CSS framework. Can I ask that question? Do I get a tumbler? Does it come in black?
I'm sorry?
No, just kidding.
Any more?
Well,
Okay.
Otherwise, maybe we find somebody who's as cool as that.
Okay, we have one question from Simon.
You got the Tumblr. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
So Redis pub stuff.
Yeah.
If you miss data, you're going to lose stuff, right? If they
Yeah,
lose the
yes,
connection
yes.
and reconnect, you're going to miss data from the pub sub. How do you deal with that? How do you
Okay.
fill in the gaps?
Okay, that's a good question on how we handle data loss. With RabbitMQ, you are ensured that your message will still stick if you use storage. But for Redis, how we do it is we've done how Facebook, Twitter does with their fan-out approach. So when a user subscribes to a channel, we put it in a hash table of all the subscribed users so that in an event a broadcaster sends a new data, it's being fan out to all of those user table of all subscribed people. Then what if the user is not connected? You switching a different protocol, which is a heartbeat, what we use is we just pull the data from Redis of all the new items that's been published and display it. That's what you do to bridge the gap of the discrepancy for using PubSub. I'm sorry? Yes, we need to do that because in a fan-out situation, you need to maintain what's new and what's been viewed by the user in a span of the whole data when it was transferred.
For 10,000 users, that was
Okay.
all right. That was his
Well,
follow-up question.
that's a computationally expensive approach, right? So in order for us to handle that part, my idea, this is really theoretical as of the moment, but my idea is to use what Instagram has been using for using RabbitMQ. So you queue all the tasks for particular nodes that's available, and then produce a cursor of chunk users, and then process them one at a time. That would save you amount of computation from looping from 1 to 10,000. So if I need to do it in a million, all I have to do is to scale horizontally and adding more nodes that would process those things.
Great, thanks. How big did you get as a matter of interest?
Okay, number of users. It's so embarrassing. We only managed to hit with simulation. I did produce a simulator just to fake the whole experience. 500. It's really, really small. But it gives us the opportunity to anticipate what problems would happen if, in case, we reach to that certain number.
It's a hard problem.
The problems?
It's a tough problem.
Oh, yeah. I didn't... When I was doing this, the second screen application, I was blaming myself. What mess did I get into? Because at first I was naive that it's very easy to do, only do a normal PubSub. And then when load balancer and all of this Redis comes into play, I was crying, almost at the verge of crying and cursing myself. What the hell am I doing? I should have been sleeping instead of solving this kind of shit.
As developers, we get into that problem a lot, except the crying part.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Your Tumblr. So,
Oh, there you go.
All right, is there anyone else with a question?
I have two more.
Okay, we have one question over here.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm not really familiar with WebSockets, but can't you just reconnect or resubscribe the user
Okay.
instead of doing long polling or whatever?
Okay. About reconnection and switching protocols. Chrome, well, the process here is this: how socket.io and how I do my reconnection and how I switch to a particular protocol. Number one is I have a connection threshold. I have a reconnection threshold that would keep on connecting as much as they can until they manage to get a handshake from the server. Can you just reconnect? There are cases that your computer or your device would somehow flip out and won't go with socket connection, or in your load balancer, it won't switch protocol. So that's a major problem that's really hard to predict. Once I've reached the connection threshold, that's the only time I will show, hey, you've been disconnected to the service. You might want to refresh your browser. to connect. But for a brief period of time, the user is not seeing that. So what I do if the user is not connected to socket, I put it in a message queue so that once the user is connected to the system, I just process all the queues that has been done and then go on with it. It's a simple example of latency compensation. I think Meteor, Emily did say that part, but that's what you do. You need to do latency. And why don't you just force and reconnect? Those are the problem there. So after I reached the threshold, I did need to switch on the protocol, because what will happen there is my client will say, oh, it's not working again. So there you go. So I hope that I did answer your question. From the Philippines? Okay.
Okay,
No.
so does anyone else have another
Thank you,
question?
thank you.
We have one more
Last.
prize to give away.
Yep.
And with the bag.
Can I ask a question?
One last? One
Alex,
more?
you were just stretching, right?
Is there someone raising their hands over there?
There.
Yeah. I'll be
Oh,
there.
over there.
Someone?
Here, over here.
There are two
How do you
questions.
see WebSocket in the live streaming, video live streaming?
Okay.
What's
I'm
your opinion on the WebSocket in terms of video live streaming?
video live streaming? Okay. I'm not in the. I'm not an expert with video live streaming. The only thing that I need to be honest, the only thing that I've worked with WebSocket is just relaying data in this manner. It's really, let's say, elementary. It's really a matter of how I construct the whole flow of data to create this kind of experience. But I think WebRTC does this part. I have a friend that's experimenting on this one, but it's very new in terms of adoption of the technology. But how will WebSocket play into it? I need to be honest that I really have no idea. So, there. Okay.
All right, so that'll be all our questions
Thank
for
you.
JP.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you.